Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on CSR, and today we are going to talk about the future of CSR and what are the issues and challenges into that. That would be our point of discussion today. And having discussed the different dimensions, or what we call as the broad contours of CSR, we have already discussed about the global scenario about CSR, whatever is going on across the globe, the global trends, the position of different countries, the stakeholders approach, or the different theories and models we have discussed in the previous lectures on CSR. And now it's time for us to have a discussion on the future of CSR. What are the issues and challenges into that? What is going to be the face of this corporate social responsibility in years to come? What is the future of CSR? Some people say that now it has become part and parcel of the corporate discourse, and companies are already into this very process of implementing the CSR activities in their broad activities, or what you call as all the activities as a company. But again, a question comes that once we have reached a given benchmark, or a set benchmark, what is going to be the future of this CSR? What kind of modifications we are going to make, what kind of amendments, what kind of additions we are going to make in order to make the CSR activities more sustainable and companies becoming more and more responsible in true sense. Not only because of the fact that there is a legal mandate for them to implement CSR, but their inner voice which is saying that yes, there is an urge to take care of the social concerns, or to actually take care of the activities which are basically concerned with the social responsibility, or what you call as social responsiveness. So keeping that in mind as a backdrop, we are going to have a discussion on what is going to be the future of CSR. There is a new term called corporate social justice, and there are different articles in leading journals and magazines, and to name one of the leading magazine, I would say the Harvard Business Review. Every year we find at least a dozen of articles on the topic, which actually is a reflection of the fact that CSR is already in to the boardroom, and the board is already discussing about the need of being socially responsible. They have not only discussed, but now they have realized that if we really want to survive for long run, if we really want to sustain as a company, we need to take care of the social concerns. So out of that discourse and activities on CSR, the different terms keep on coming, and as of now there is a new term called corporate social justice. We'll be talking about testing companies' commitment to CSR, what kind of testing times companies are going through. Amid the COVID-19, there was a concern that when the companies are not making profit, from where they'll be contributing to the cause of CSR. There is a new term called CPR, that is corporate political responsibility, that also we shall be discussing in due course of our deliberation and discussion on the topic of future of CSR issues and challenges. So my dear learners, what is the objective behind setting this as a topic, that what is going to be the future of CSR issues and challenges? The reason behind that is that once we understand the theories and models of CSR and what is CSR in practice, what are the different dimensions of CSR, it is very pertinent for us to know that in what manner it is making advancement. So what are the advancements which we are witnessing at global level in the field of CSR? That is something which I am going to present before you in today's lecture of mine. So I am starting with the first very dimension of it. We are entering the age of a term called corporate social justice. When we use this term corporate social justice, and we eliminate the prefix of corporate, we find a term called social justice, where we talk about taking the entire society at par with, and we don't believe into a society where the society is divided into haves and have-nots. We want everyone to have the coexistence, the amicable coexistence, and everyone is really feeling honored to be the citizen of that country wherever we are operating as a corporate entity. Now in that entire discourse of social justice, where the corporate fits in, what is the role of corporate entity, what is the duty of companies, that is something which we are going to discuss as a future phase of corporate social responsibility, where the social responsibility extends from not only taking care of health, education or certain listed activities, but it also looks at the perspective of social justice, in what manner the company can contribute. And for that, what the researches are reflecting, that I am going to present before you, the researches which are being conducted globally, they have shown that companies with effective corporate social responsibility programs are more profitable than those that are not. So the researchers have established now that any company which is basically taking care of or they have CSR programs, they are more profitable than other companies, than their counterparts which are not caring for the social responsibility or being socially responsive. And over the last 50 years, the corporations have relied on these programs which are basically focusing on CSR, and they include the social issue marketing, they include philanthropic efforts, they include the diversity and inclusion work, they include employee volunteer initiatives, and when we look at all these activities, their objective is one, and that is to build their brands and satisfy their customer. So the main business of business is to do business, and in that process their objective is to create a brand equity in the mind and heart of the customers, and they not only wish to build their brands but also want their customer to feel delighted. Gone are the days when companies used to talk about selling the products only, and their objective was limited to the selling concept of marketing. Now we have marched much ahead from that very concept of production, product and selling concept. Now we talk about the societal concept of marketing. So if you look at the concepts of marketing which we study and teach in the classrooms, where we have discussed about the production concept, then product concept, and after that came selling concept, where the objective of firm was to sell the product, and eventually we moved towards upward towards the marketing concept, and the latest one is societal concept, where as a corporate entity it is your objective to take care of all the stakeholders, including the society. So in due course of that very business of the business is to do business, where the objective of firm is to build their brands and satisfy their customers, they are also supposed to take care of the social issue marketing, philanthropic efforts, employee volunteer initiatives, and diversity and inclusion work, and this is only an indicative. These are the only indicative efforts. Depending on the locational problems which a company is witnessing there, in whichever geographical location they are working, they actually decide their own tasks, they craft and draft their own programs, and those programs are basically supported and implemented by these corporate entities. So consumers and employees, they are now looking for more than corporate social responsibility, because they feel that it is something which is the duty of the company. Now what they are looking for, they are now looking for, their expectations are increasing, and the new term for that expectation is that they are looking for corporate social justice. They what authors are calling it as CSJ, that CSR is now corporate social justice, and different terms we are finding in the corporate corridors when we talk about the corporate social responsibility as a domain, as a subject for discussion and studies. So consumers are now, or what you call as not only consumers, all the stakeholders, they are now not only satisfied with this very idea that companies are being socially responsible. Companies are basically taking care of their CSR activities. They are spending some amount on CSR activities. Their expectations are increasing. It has increased now, I would say, and the future of the CSR is corporate social justice. And it is basically what exactly it is. Let me tell you in brief that corporate social justice is basically a kind of reframing of CSR, which centers the focus of any initiative or program on the measurable lived experience of groups which are harmed and disadvantaged by the society. So it is basically looking for the focus point of your CSR activities to be those segment of the society, or that segment of the society which is basically deprived one, or which is what you call as disadvantaged one. And in Indian scenario, if you ask me, I would say we call them the marginal people or the Antyodaya people. those who are standing at the end of a queue, they are basically called as the last people, the marginal people, and their uday, that is antyuday. So the one who is standing at the ant and at the end, their rise is basically called antyuday. So if you ask me about the Indian scenario, there are a number of schemes for those people, those marginal people, those deprived people, but now this term is actually spreading across the globe, and companies are supposed to take care of the corporate social justice as a new term for this term CSR. So the focus point of CSR, if you ask me, I would say it is not basically the extension of CSR. I would say here the focus of CSR is now supposed to be changed. Because whenever we start any journey or any taking care of any specific area, initially we start with the basic development of basic amenities. And since now we have achieved that basic level across the globe, and we are taking care of sustainable development goals, those 17 goals we are supposed to achieve by 2030, that is 2030, and the UNDP has actually developed those sustainable development goals, which actually call for the countries, the policy makers to take care of all those points. Those 17-point agenda is there for them to develop, which includes not only their health but also education. And when they talk about education, they talk about quality education. So number of parameters are there. Safe drinking water is there. The social justice is being ensured by the way of eradication of poverty. So various points are there. So my dear learners, basically the corporate social justice is basically the new focal point of the new point of focus for CSR activities of the corporate entities, where the programs are basically on the measurable lived experiences of groups which are being deprived, which are being harmed, or which are being called as a disadvantaged section of the society. So taking care of those people who are deprived in the society, or you can say that those who feel a little dishonored in terms of their standard of living and all, for them the corporate entities should come forward and they should take care of their concern, their development, so that there is a social justice by the way of the contribution of corporate entities. So this is a new term which we are going to witness in years to come. So CSR globally is basically a self-regulated framework which has no legal or social obligation for corporations to actually create positive impact for the groups they basically purport to help. So it is basically a self-regulated framework, and corporate social justice is basically a framework which is regulated by the trust between a company and its stakeholders. Having said company and its stakeholders, we need to understand that corporate social justice is basically a framework which is governed by the trust between the company and all the stakeholders. And in doing so, their objective is to explicitly doing good by all of them. That they have to whatever we are doing, whatever we are performing, wherever we are working, we need to contribute. We need to do good for all of them, not only the customers and employees, but also the shareholders, the stakeholders, and the broad community. So wherever we are touching, wherever we are in contact with any of the segment of the society, we need to act responsibly. So that is the objective. So here the CSR is often realized through a secondary program which is tracked onto a company's main business. And corporate social justice, basically it requires deep integration with every aspect of the company or every aspect of the way a company is functioning. So whatever is my function as a company, I need to have a deep integration with all the stakeholders, and that is the way I can ensure the social justice. So the need for this fundamental shift has become more apparent over the last few years, and that is why we have put it in the segment of Future of CSR. But in doing so, there is a challenge also. You must be thinking that companies, they were finding it, some of the companies, they were finding it as an extension of their activities, that you ask me for contributing in terms of money, I'm happy with that. But creating a different department, initially that was a hitch. Creating a different department and then spending or contributing so much of time and effort into that CSR activity, that actually some of the companies initially they were feeling that it is a kind of extension of our activity for which we are not established. But now companies have started realizing that no, it is basically one of the most important and significant department of our corporate entity, and it need to work with all responsibility, with due care and responsiveness. We should take care of the social concern. So now that plant, that seed which was basically sown initially 10-20 years back, now it has taken the form of a tree, and it's time for us to for that tree to bear the fruits. So basically the objective, the goal of the company is to take care of this fundamental shift which has become more apparent over the last few years. And the future of this CSR is basically undoubtedly the corporate social justice, where we can ensure social justice by the way of the increased contribution of corporate entities. I can give you an example for this, where the companies they have initially donated and they need to withdraw that contribution, or they need to revise that decision only because of the fact that it was not contributing to the cause of social justice. There is a company called AT&T, which basically it was a winner of a perfect score on the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index in 2017. And it was widely criticized for donating more than $2.5 million to anti-gay politicians that very year, the year that is 2017. And Tom's, whose one for one giving model, it basically won widespread accolades, eventually scrapped its model after they realized that, after they found that their donations had disrupted local economies and producers. So they had to basically scrap that entire model once they realized that no, it is affecting, it is having a negative impact over the social justice, or it had disrupted local economies and producers. So they had to withdraw, and that is something which is expected from a successful company. That even if I have taken a decision for the goodness of the society, and somehow it has not realized the same benefit, then there is no point, we don't mind scrapping that specific model, because there is always a scope of improvement and correction for any company. So when we have to define corporate social justice, we need to understand it is basically a new paradigm shift, which actually imagines a healthier and mutually beneficial relationship between the companies and the communities they interact with. So you have to, by the way of ensuring CSJ, that is corporate social justice, we are maintaining a mutually beneficial relationship between the corporate entities and the communities with which they are interacting, so that they understand that yes, our concerns are always honored by the company. And that is the beauty of this very addendum to the CSR, or I would say it is basically a change of focus from the listed activities, from the activities like health, education and other segments of the society. Now we are looking for the social justice also as a focus point of corporate social responsibility, and it is basically driven by the growing desire of socially aware consumers and employees for companies, because they are now increasingly socially aware, and especially socially conscious and forward thinking companies, they are supposed to do better. So this entire discourse or idea of social justice is basically fueled by, or it is driven by the socially aware consumers, socially aware employees of the companies, and socially conscious and forward thinking companies. So it is not only the company, but also the stakeholders who are actually willing this to happen, and in their entire discourse, their objective is to do something better. And now the companies, they are going to have a greater opportunity to rise to this very reason, to the occasion, and leverage their influence to build a better world for all, including themselves. Because once we are finding a better world to live, the company is also supposed to survive within the same environment which we have created. So my dear learners, in this way we have understood what exactly we mean by the term corporate social justice, which is going to be a future buzzword in the corridors of CSR. And when we talk about the stakeholders, we would say that consumers and other stakeholders, they want companies that see social good as a necessity, not just a marketing strategy. They should find this social good as a necessity for their survival, and it's up to companies to respond to this new challenge, and it is these companies which are going to decide. how to respond to these challenges. So while implementing this corporate social justice, there are a number of challenges which companies are going to witness. The question comes, how to witness, how to respond to those challenges. So there are certain steps for that. If you really wish to contribute to the social justice, to the cause of social justice, there are different ways. There is a planned way to respond to the challenges which would actually come in front of us when we go for implementing corporate social justice. So the ideal way of responding to such challenges is that we should begin with a goal or vision for a more just society. That we should have a vision, we should have a long-term plan, that we are dreaming of a society which is basically a just society where each and every segment of the society is duly honored, and they are finding the society to be a better place to live, or their atmosphere to be a better place to live. So first of all, our goal should be clear, that what is my objective when I'm talking for the corporate social justice. Because once the goal is clear, the vision is clear, then accordingly we can transform that vision into reality. So this is the first step, my dear learners. And the second is, we should then thoughtfully situate the company within the broader ecosystem surrounding that goal. So we can position ourselves, once we have decided the target, we can decide the positioning of our company. Suppose I take care of XYZ company and their CSR venture, and then I find that my objective is to contribute to the social justice, and as a company we need to ensure a society which is a just society, which is having the distribution of power and resources in an equitable manner. So we don't wish to have a society where the society is divided into haves and have-nots. No, we should have a society where every member of the society is honored in an equitable manner. So we talk about social equity and justice, social justice we talk about. So we need to thoughtfully situate or position our company within the broader ecosystem surrounding that vision which we have actually drafted. And here, my dear learners, it is very important and pertinent for a company to draft its vision. You should write, so that in due course of our implementation of CSR activities, we don't forget that what exactly was our goal, and according to our goal we can position ourselves. The third step is, we should build a robust and representative working groups which connects the company with its stakeholders. So there has to be a group which is very vibrant and robust, and it is working, the working style is designed in such a way that they connect the company with its stakeholders. That is very much important. And then they need to take a stance also, and regularly evaluate progress. The regular evaluation of progress is equally important than what you have decided and implemented. So whatever we have implemented, we should keep on evaluating the progress of those plans, those programs at regular intervals, so that we can find that what are the points where we are lacking, and what are the points where we could get successful, so that we can make necessary modification. So corporate social justice, my dear learners, it is basically an ongoing commitment of a company for what? To achieve a vision of justice or equity in partnership with stakeholders. So these are the key terms, these are the key steps for the companies in due course of their implementation of CSR activities. So in order to overcome such challenges which are going to come in our way of implementation of corporate social justice, if we go in a planned manner, of course we are not going to forget our vision, and we can achieve our vision or goal or target, whatever we have decided for us as a company, we can achieve. So in order to build accountability into the process, the goals and metrics, they should be set by the working groups, and these metrics are supposed to be translated by senior leaders into directives for the entire company. So there has to be a directive. The do's and don'ts are there to be decided by the company, and although companies, they have no legal obligation to meet such metrics, but their relationship with stakeholders, especially their employees and external communities, they are regulated by trust. So trust is something which is a binding force between the company and the stakeholders, and if you keep on meeting your goal, if you achieve those goals and targets, it maintains and grows a company's reputation for good, the trust stakeholders have in it, and the ability of working groups to contribute to continue bringing benefit to all parties, that is going to come in front of us. So my dear learners, this entire concept of this corporate social justice, it was published by the Lily Zhang in their article of title "We Are Entering the Age of Corporate Social Justice," published in Harvard Business Review on June 15, 2020. So we acknowledge their contribution, because this entire discourse of corporate social justice, it was based on this article, which was published in Harvard Business Review. So in this way, we could understand and discuss the very aspect of the future of CSR issues and challenges. I hope you must have understood and enjoyed today's lecture of mine. Thank you so much.